Greyridge, a village shrouded in mist and silence. The fog rolled in every morning, blanketing the village in a shroud of mystery. It was as if the very air was thick with the weight of untold stories, secrets that lingered just out of reach. Ancient trees clawed at the sky, their branches bare and twisted. These trees, with their gnarled limbs, seemed to whisper among themselves, sharing tales of old. They stood as silent sentinels guarding the village and its secrets. The air was heavy, burdened with secrets. Each breath felt like an intrusion, a disturbance in the delicate balance of the village's eerie tranquility. The mist was not just a natural phenomenon, it was a veil, hiding the village's true nature. At the village edge, nestled amongst the gnarled roots of an ancient oak, lay the echoing pit. This pit was more than just a hole in the ground, it was a place of legend, a focal point for the village's whispered tales, a well of dark stone choked by weeds. It stood as a testament to the village's forgotten past, a relic of a time when the whispers were louder and the secrets more dangerous. Villagers spoke of it in hushed tones, their voices barely above a whisper, as if speaking too loudly might awaken something best left undisturbed. They shared stories of the well's dark history, tales passed down through generations. They said it was a gateway, a place where the dead whispered their sorrows. The well was believed to be a portal to another realm, a place where the boundary between the living and the dead was thin. Clara had heard the stories. She was intrigued by the mystery that surrounded the village and its well. The more she heard, the more she felt drawn to uncover the truth. An anthropology student, she was drawn to the unexplained. Her studies had taken her to many strange places, but none as enigmatic as Greyridge. The village's history and the legends of the echoing pit were a puzzle she was determined to solve. The whispers of Greyridge, the legends of the echoing pit, it was a siren song to her curious mind. She felt an irresistible pull, a need to understand the source of the whispers and the truth behind the legends. She arrived in the village on a day choked by fog, her notebook clutched tightly in her hand. The mist seemed to welcome her, wrapping around her like a cold embrace, as if acknowledging her presence and her quest for answers. The villagers eyed her with suspicion, their faces etched with warning. They knew the dangers that lay hidden in the mist, the truths that were better left undiscovered. Their wary glances were a silent plea for her to turn back. They knew the truth of the well, the danger that lurked within its depths. The well was not just a relic, it was a living part of the village's dark history, a reminder of the whispers that never truly faded. Clara, however, dismissed their fears as superstition. She had always been a woman of science, driven by a relentless pursuit of knowledge. The villagers' tales of curses and spirits seemed like relics of a bygone era to her. An educated woman, she sought logic, evidence. Her days were spent buried in books, analyzing ancient texts and studying old maps. She believed that every legend had a kernel of truth, waiting to be uncovered by those brave enough to seek it. She set up her equipment near the well, her eyes gleaming with academic fervor. The well, rumored to be the source of the village's misfortunes, was her latest project. She was determined to uncover its secrets, no matter the cost. The villagers kept their distance, their gazes wary. They had seen outsiders come and go, each one more curious than the last. But Clara was different. Her determination was palpable. They had seen this before. Curiosity leading to obsession. They whispered among themselves, recounting tales of those who had ventured too close to the well and never returned. An obsession in Greyridge often led to a fate far worse than death. The village had a dark history, shrouded in mystery and fear. The fog that rolled in every evening seemed to carry with it the weight of countless lost souls. "Just folklore," Clara muttered, her voice a stark contrast to the oppressive silence of the woods. She refused to be swayed by ghost stories and old wives' tales. She lowered a microphone into the well's depths, the cable snaking down into the darkness. She hoped to capture any sounds that might provide clues to the well's true nature. The villagers watched from the shadows, their faces grim. They had seen too much to dismiss the well's power as mere superstition. They knew the whispers were real. The well had a voice, one that spoke in the dead of night, filling their dreams with dread. They had heard them in their nightmares. Faces twisted in fear, eyes wide with terror, they had all experienced the well's haunting call. Clara was about to discover that some legends are born from truths too dark to be forgotten. The first few days yielded nothing but silence. Clara, though, remained undeterred. She spent her days by the well, her nights poring over folklore and local history. The villagers avoided her, their whispers following her like shadows. They said the well chose its victims, that it lured them in with promises of knowledge. Then, one night, as the moon hung low and heavy in the sky, a change, a cold breath from the well, like a phantom exhaling against her skin. The microphone crackled to life, a low hum vibrating through the speakers. Clara leaned closer, her pulse quickening. There beneath the static, a whisper, faint, indistinct, but undeniably there. The whispers grew stronger, filling the air with an unsettling presence that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere all at once. No longer mere murmurs, they became voices, distinct and insistent, as if trying to convey a message from beyond the veil of reality. A cacophony of sound echoing from the depths, reverberating through the walls and into Clara's very soul, leaving her both intrigued and terrified. Clara, initially thrilled by this breakthrough, found herself increasingly disturbed. The excitement of discovery was quickly overshadowed by a growing sense of dread. The voices spoke of sorrow, of loss, of things best left undisturbed. They recounted tales of forgotten tragedies and ancient curses, each story more harrowing than the last. They spoke in languages she didn't understand, their tones laced with an ancient grief that transcended time and space, resonating deep within her. She began to hear things, whispers that seemed to come from the shadows, from the corners of her mind, always just out of reach. Whispers at the edge of her hearing, calling her name, beckoning her to follow, to uncover the secrets they held. The line between reality and the supernatural blurred, leaving Clara in a state of perpetual unease, unsure of what was real and what was a figment of her imagination. Clara found herself drawn to the well, a moth to a flickering flame, unable to resist its dark allure despite the fear it instilled in her. She would stand at its edge, transfixed by the darkness within, feeling as though it held the answers to the whispers that haunted her. The villagers noticed the change in her. They whispered among themselves, their eyes filled with concern and fear. The way her eyes seemed to lose their focus, her gaze distant and haunted, as if she was seeing things that no one else could. They knew the well was claiming her, its dark influence seeping into her soul, pulling her deeper into its mysterious depths. One night, as the wind howled like a banshee through the trees, Clara heard it, her own name echoing up from the well, clear, distinct, spoken with a chilling familiarity. She stumbled back, fear gripping her heart like a vice. This was no longer academic curiosity. The well knew her. It was calling to her. She tried to pull away, to break free from the well's hold. But it was too late. The voices had seeped into her mind, whispering promises of forbidden knowledge, of secrets hidden within the earth. Her fear was replaced by a strange sense of peace, a longing to be enveloped by the darkness. The villagers watched in silent horror as Clara, her eyes vacant and distant, walked towards the well. They knew there was no stopping her. The well had chosen, and its hunger was insatiable. She stood at the edge, her silhouette framed against the pale moonlight. And then, with a final, echoing whisper, she was gone. The earth swallowed her whole, the well claiming another victim. The villagers, their faces etched with a familiar grief, sealed the well with an ancient stone, its surface carved with protective sigils. They hoped it would be enough. They hoped that finally, the whispers would be silenced. A heavy silence descended upon Greyridge. The villagers mourned Clara, their grief tinged with a chilling acceptance. They knew the risks she took, the price of her curiosity. The well, though sealed, seemed to pulse with a dark energy. its presence a constant reminder of the tragedy that had unfolded. Life in Greyridge continued, but the shadow of the echoing pit loomed large. Children were forbidden from approaching the well, their parents' warnings laced with fear. The whispers, though fainter, still echoed in their nightmares, a constant reminder of the darkness that lay beneath their feet. Months later, a package arrived in Greyridge. It was addressed to the village elder, its contents a collection of Clara's research. Her thesis, completed in the weeks leading up to her disappearance, was a chilling account of her experiences. It detailed the whispers, the voices, the growing sense of dread that had consumed her. Her words, a chilling testament to the power of the echoing pit, sent a shiver down the spines of the villagers. They realized, with a growing sense of unease, that Clara's work had transcended death. Her curiosity, though it had cost her life, had brought the secrets of the well to light. The echoing pit remained sealed, its stone surface a stark reminder of the tragedy that lay beneath. Life in Greyridge slowly returned to its quiet rhythm, the villagers carrying the weight of their shared history. But the silence, once comforting, was now laced with an unsettling tension. Travelers passing through the village would sometimes speak of hearing whispers near the well. Faint, indistinct voices carried on the wind. The villagers, their faces etched with a weary resignation, would simply shake their heads and warn them to move along. The echoing pit had claimed its due, and they knew, deep in their hearts, that its thirst for secrets would never be quenched.